In Hollywood, you get short marriages, and then you get really short marriages. We're not talking about the ones that last a year or even 6 months. We're talking about days. Marriages that have lasted mere hours from the moment they said I do. So, let's not waste any time and just get into it. Britney Spears and Jason Alexander, married for 55 hours. During a trip to, yep, you guessed it, Las Vegas in 2004, Britney Spears married childhood friend Jason Alexander at 5:30 a.m. But 55 hours later, she filed to have the marriage annulled. Hours later, a judge dissolved their joke of a marriage, and the rest is history. It was me being silly, being rebellious, and not really taking the responsibility of what I was doing, Britney shared. Nicolas Cage and Erika Koike, married for 4 days. Nicolas's whirlwind romance with Erika, a makeup artist who's 20 years younger than the actor, ended just as quickly as it began. Just 4 days after marrying in Las Vegas in March 2019, the actor filed for an annulment. The couple had been together for a year before they decided to get married. Unfortunately, everything seemed to go downhill from there. Erika was allegedly against the idea of the divorce and denied all of Cage's claims that they were intoxicated when they decided to get married. Following the divorce proceedings, Cage's fourth wife then continued to demand spousal support from the actor even though they were only married for 4 days.
I think anyone who's even considering divorce and families, that should be required viewing because having been through it, family law is absolutely the worst.
Erika explained the need for financial support from Nicolas because his claims against her have ruined her reputation and prevented her from getting work as a makeup artist. Cage also claimed that there were grounds for an annulment since Koike hadn't bothered to, quote, disclose to Cage the full nature and extent of her relationship with another person. It seems that the claim might mean that she had been seeing someone else when she walked down the aisle in Vegas. Poor Nicolas, it must have been terrible to wake up the next morning and find out that the person you're now married to is someone you don't know at all. Cher and Gregg Allman, married for 9 days. The first time. Cher married Gregg Allman in 1975. A mere 3 days after her divorce with Sonny Bono was finalized. However, 9 days after tying the knot in Las Vegas, Cher filed to dissolve their union due to Gregg's alcohol and drug abuse issues.
I was stupid, I was young, and I loved him a lot, and I just thought, oh, I can change him. And
we guess what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas because it only lasted 9 days. The couple did reconcile less than a month later. Unfortunately, it was Gregg who filed for divorce the following year. However, the couple decided to put the divorce on hold after finding out that Cher was pregnant. Sadly, their reunion wasn't meant to be, and not even their child could keep them together. Cher filed again in 1977, and their divorce was finalized in 1979. Carmen Electra and Dennis Rodman, married for 9 days. What is it about going to Vegas and having an impromptu wedding? It must be something pretty contagious because that's exactly what happened to Carmen Electra and Dennis in 1998.
Our relationship was very passionate, so when it was good, it was amazing, and when it was bad, it was the worst.
However, just 9 days later, Dennis wanted an annulment. He claimed he only got married because he'd just had a few too many cocktails. They briefly reconciled, but then went their separate ways for good just 5 months later. It happened so fast, Carmen confessed. It was so spontaneous, and I remember right after, oh God, what did we do? Eddie Murphy and Tracy Edmonds, married for 2 weeks. After dating for more than a year, Eddie Murphy and Tracy Edmonds tied the knot in Bora Bora on New Year's Day in 2008. However, their honeymoon was anything but romantic. As soon as the couple had made their vows, there was nothing but non-stop fighting. Eddie started yelling at Tracy in front of people, a wedding guest told the magazine. He did it on a few occasions, and it was very embarrassing. They ended things 2 weeks later, and as it turns out, the wedding had not even been legally binding in the US. While the recent symbolic union in Bora Bora was representative of our deep love, friendship, and respect that we have for one another on a spiritual level, we've decided to remain friends, they said in a joint statement. Pamela Anderson and John Peters, married for 12 days. While reports claim that the couple had a private wedding ceremony at the beginning of 2020, the model has been adamant that there was no marriage at all to begin with, just a short fling. It was just kind of a little moment, a moment that came and went, but there was no wedding. There was no marriage, there was no anything. It's like it never even happened. That sounds bizarre, but that's it. Although it seems John has a completely different story to tell. He claims that Pam married him simply so that he could pay off all the debt she had accumulated over the years. He confessed, "I dropped everything for Pam. She had almost 200 grand in bills and no way to pay for it, so I paid it, and this is the thanks I get. There's no fool like an old fool." Since Pam and John are telling their own versions of what happened, we'll leave it for you to decide what the truth is when it comes to their 12-day marriage.
Just, I love traditional marriage. And,
Is that weird?
I don't know.
What? She likes
Yeah, so I
tradition.
pick really good men that are going to supply that for me.
Ali Landry and Mario Lopez, 18 days. In 2004, Lopez said "I do" to Landry just days after he had been with another woman. Instead of calling it quits before they vowed till death do us part, Lopez waited until Landry found out he had cheated on her.
Right after the wedding, I found out everything I had heard before, plus so much more was true and had happened.
The model filed for an annulment 18 days later. Well, in this case, it was more like, "Till I find out that you cheated on me, do us part." Drew Barrymore and Jeremy Thomas, married for 19 days. Drew met British bar owner Jeremy Thomas in 1994 at The Room, Thomas's Club, where Drew became a loyal customer. The actress was 19 years old at the time and Jeremy was 31. But their 12-year age difference didn't stop them from falling in love hard and fast. The pair hit it off instantly and quickly started dating. Just 6 weeks later, they decided to tie the knot. The idea came about in the middle of the night where Jeremy managed to secure a minister, leading to the two saying their "I do's" less than 2 hours later. "I realized my mistake the day I married him," Drew later admitted. After the impromptu wedding, Drew had to fly back to the United States to film a movie. However, her new husband made it clear that despite the long distance, he wanted them to keep in contact every day because she was now his wife. After a couple of weeks apart, the couple had decided to go to Hawaii for their honeymoon. However, after coming to terms with her situation, Drew decided to go alone. She called Jeremy Thomas from the hotel room to call things off. "I got a phone call from her. In Hawaii. She'd gone off on our honeymoon without me," Thomas said. Their divorce was finalized just a few months later. And now it's time for some honorable mentions. Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Esposito, married for 4 months. It seems as though having kept their relationship away from the public eye wasn't able to save their marriage. The union was over just 4 months after they got hitched in 2006. Shannon Doherty and Ashley Hamilton, married for 5 months. Shannon married Ashley Hamilton after just 2 weeks of dating. The actress headed down the aisle barefoot, wearing a silk robe and walking without her father. No parents were invited to the ceremony. Unfortunately, her marriage with Ashley came to an end after just 195 days of marriage. Renee Zellweger and Kenny Chesney, married for 4 months. Renee Zellweger and Kenny Chesney met in 2005 and tied the knot in the Caribbean just 4 months later. Another 4 months later, Renee sought to have her marriage to the country star annulled. Once the tabloids got a hold of the cryptic reason, people began to speculate that fraud was code for Chesney is gay. After Chesney adamantly insisted that he's attracted to women, we guess we'll just never know why these two didn't work out. Drew Barrymore and Tom Green, married for 5 months. As a small honorable mention, we thought we should add that another one of Drew's marriages was also short-lived. Drew married Canadian comedian Tom Green in 2001. Unfortunately, they didn't make it to the end of the year. They separated after just 5 months of marriage.
We had a lot of laughs together. I think one of our first dates, I think we went and bought lobsters, because we both love animals.
Yeah.
And we both got lobsters.
Yeah.
And we released them into the ocean.
Yeah.
That was what we decided to do.
Pamela Anderson and Rick Solomon, married for 2 months. Yet another one of Pam's failed marriages. Pamela and Rick Solomon got hitched in Las Vegas in October 2007 during the 3-hour break between the 2 magic shows in which she was starring as a magician's assistant. Just 69 days later, it was over. It was a shocking turn of events. In 2014, Pamela confirmed that she and Rick had married, but 6 months later, 2014, she filed to divorce Rick for the second time. Some things just ain't meant to be. Nicolas Cage and Lisa Marie Presley, married for 3 months. Currently, on his 5th marriage, Nicholas has a few failed ones under his belt. After a 10-day engagement, Elvis fanatic Nicolas Cage married the King's daughter, Lisa Mary Presley, in 2002. 3 months later, they headed for the Heartbreak Hotel. Ironically, the divorce proceedings lasted longer than the actual marriage.